Okay, ladies and gentlemen, people have a couple of questions. They want to know, is Zack Snyder coming back to DC? Is he going to restart the Snyderverse? Now, the reason why this question is coming up a hell of a lot recently is given the stuttering and the missteps going on with DC and James Gunn, mainly in relation to Superman not making the money they wanted it to make at the box office and the ratings decline of Peacemaker Season 2, all being reasons why people might wonder why some recent posts by Zack Snyder might be indicating that it's possible that DC wanted to bring him back and reignite the Snyderverse. Now, offhand, before we even get started, I'm going to go ahead and say, and I've got my reasons to believe so otherwise, which will show up in the video, that that's not going to happen. And I also don't think it's a good idea, as much as I liked the movies that Zack Snyder put out in the, in the DC universe, in the DCEU. Characterizations aside, bad endings aside, I enjoyed the films. But the reason for all of this going on is because the Peacemaker finale, which we got here from Cosmic Book News, it was watched by about 435,000 households in the first 4 days of its release. Season 1 had about 584,000 households, so it's about 150,000 households fewer at the finale. Season 2 started 22% above the Season 1 finale, and the problem is that beyond the fact that by the end of Season 2, its viewership had cratered about 39%. None of the episodes showed up on the Nielsen charts, which means to a lot of people, what that indicates is that the buzz around the show, it waned and it got less and less as the show went on. And there has been no third season as confirmed by James Gunn. And they've done what they're doing right now, which is they have they've renamed the Gods and Monsters storyline that they were running with James Gunn's DCU to becoming the Superman saga, the Superman saga, the Superman legacy saga, whatever it was calling. They were shifting it because people do believe that it's possible that James Gunn doesn't have a lot of time there, especially if Warner Brothers Discovery gets sold. I saw something today that that David Zaslav wants like $30 a share to sell just Warner Brothers, not even the Discovery portion of the brand. So do with that what you will. I don't know if a sale is incoming, but a lot of people believe that if that were to happen and they were to just run as its own studio, that Michael DeLuca would be the one who ended up getting put in charge there. But look, Superman didn't do the numbers on Max that they wanted it to. It fell behind even the likes of Black Adam, which had like 632 million minutes in its first 3 days of release, I think was the number it was. And it made Superman made about $615 million at the box office. It fell behind even F1, which was, of course, as I've said many times on the channel, my favorite movie that came out this year. But it was an Apple TV movie that I don't think a lot of people see doing as well. Even if it was made by Joseph Kosinski, what it was, the guy who made Top Gun Maverick, I don't think that they were expecting that movie to be able to beat out a character with the name recognition of Superman. And the $615 million, it barely outdid the international box office of Black Adam, which didn't have a China release, which gives you an idea of where the money went. And then we've got what's going on here. So we've got this information about James Gunn, but then what you saw was after all of that came out, you saw this post from Zack Snyder. Now, this sparked a lot of debate because he posted this picture of Henry Cavill and said, Henry Cavill is Superman. So it's a director James Gunn stirred up DC fans on social media after posting a black and white image of Henry Cavill as Superman from Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, writing, Henry Cavill is Superman. From BVS, shot with my monochrome 50mm Noctilux 3 weeks ago. He wanted to do this he wanted to announce to everyone. It was happy 3 weeks on Instagram. I guess he just joined the platform. He's up to like 140,000 followers already, so, he's growing fast. The photo arrives at a time when the future of DC Studios and Warner Brothers Discovery is in flux, and fans are wondering if Snyder is hinting at something bigger. Here's the problem. He also posted another picture right after that, a couple days after that, and I love this photo a lot. It's a picture of Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. It says, Zack Snyder is keeping the DCEU nostalgia alive, this time sharing a striking new black and white photo of Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. He posted this image. He shot it with his Leica monochrome and modified 50mm Dream lens. Thank you, Joe Manganiello, for being the perfect Deathstroke. I actually, the funny thing is I watched that cameo, or where he appears in the post-credit scene just recently when he shows up on the super yacht with, Lex Luthor. Say what you want about Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, I think that Joe Manganiello had a great look and would have been a perfect fit for Deathstroke, and they had a lot of stuff that they wanted to do with him, all of which, of course, got scrapped because of the leadership and the constant brand changes and the constant, office meddling that goes on at DC and Warner Brothers. They talk about it here. Manganiello was officially set to play Slade Wilson, a.k.a. Deathstroke, as the main villain in Ben Affleck's The Batman, the film that was reworked into Matt Reeves' standalone version. And I really would have loved to see that. I have a lot of nostalgia for that time period. I have nostalgia for the time period of listening to the people on Collider talk about the possibilities of a Ben Affleck Batman movie and what that could have been, post Batman vs Superman. And at that time, it did feel, with Marvel in full swing, that a lot of these creators, they had it out for DC in general, and they were happy to see Batman vs Superman, kind of crater in its second week at the box office. I can't speak on what's on anyone's heart, but that's what it felt like to me, given the fact that Marvel was, the dominating force in the culture at the time. They didn't want to see Batman vs Superman do as well as that could have. And look, there are problems with the characterization of Superman. There are issues that a lot of people have with the franchise. I enjoyed that tone at the time. I think probably because of the fact that Marvel had what felt like, at least to me, a more homogenous feel to it. There's a reason why Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel movie of all time, is I felt like it set itself apart tonally from the rest of the Marvel movies, from the rest of the Marvel franchise, and that's what made it so good. And at that time, most of what Marvel was releasing, that's when Civil War came out. Civil War did gangbusters at the box office, but I would have loved to see, The Batman starring Ben Affleck with Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. I think that would have been fantastic. But here's why I don't think there's any reason to believe that Zack Snyder is going to be coming back to DC. And I think that I am right about this. So Zack Snyder is finally directing his war drama, The Last Photograph. It's kind of being described as a passion project of his, something he's wanted to do since the early 2000s. It makes me think of Wes Craven, the way that they kind of parodied Wes Craven in Scream 3 with Scott Foley's character, when he's like, all I wanted to do was make a real classic love story, but they said I had to make a scary movie first. Is the idea here that he wants to make this passion project, but you have to make zombies and cape flicks and all of this stuff together. It says, this is from the Hollywood Reporter, Zack Snyder is finally tackling his passion project, and there is not a single cape, zombie, or rebellious moon in sight. Starting later this month, Snyder will be filming The Last Photograph, a drama he originated and has been developing since the mid-2000s. Stuart Martin and Fra Fee, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, I apologize, both of whom appeared in Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon movies, will star in the feature, an indie whose budget will be significantly lower than many of the epics that Snyder has captained before. I actually love that idea. So I think that one of the prevailing notes is that for great filmmakers, and that will certainly be a test for Zack Snyder, everybody remembers 300, but these, I don't know what the budget was on 300, but sometimes I believe that truly creative minds, creative visionaries, they can do some of their best work when there are actual handcuffs on their budget, right? When you make somebody work more with less, a lot of times, necessity being the mother of invention, they are able to create something truly incredible because they aren't given the limitless budget, which oftentimes comes with, issues with the issues with the studio, issues with creative between different visions on the project. When somebody is given less to work with, sometimes everybody bands together and they're able to create something truly spectacular. That would be something great to see here. It says the project, a war drama, will shoot in several locations across the globe, including Colombia, Iceland, and Los Angeles. He is co-producing this with his wife, who is also obviously a producer in Hollywood as well. It says longtime Snyder colleague Kurt Johnstad wrote the script after working with Snyder on 300 and Rebel Moon. It is a story based from Snyder. It says, the story, according to the producers, is thus. An ex-DEA operative must return to the mountains of South America in an effort to find his missing niece and nephew following the brutal murders of their diplomat parents, enlisting the help of a washed-up junkie war photographer, the only person to have seen the face of the killers. He sets out determined to find the children and the truth, but soon learns he must also face the ghosts of his past. Their journey into the unknown takes them further and further away from civilization, bringing into question everything they believe while slowly eroding the distinction between real and surreal. I think that that's a fantastic elevator pitch. And for somebody like Snyder, who's so heavily focused on visuals, I kind of hope that the story was something so important to him that they had a lot of time to spend on it, because I don't want this to be the type of thing where the entirety of the budget seems to go to, long form, over the top, slow motion and panning shots. I would like to see a great story written in there as well. But I think that this is the reason, in my opinion, why Zack Snyder isn't actually coming back to the DCEU. In my opinion, you don't go home again. It's never better the second time around with these types of franchises. I think the people that really, really want Zack Snyder back, it's not to say that you have to love what James Gunn is coming out with. That's not what I'm saying at all. Certainly, you're going to have your preferences. Tonally. Sorry, guys, again. Tonally, you're going to have your preferences for the type of storytelling you want to see. If the art style and the story of Zack Snyder is more your direction, perhaps this isn't the universe for you right now, but I don't think that you're going to be able to go back again. And even if it was, that may ring true and be great for those die-hard fans of Zack Snyder. But I think as a brand, bringing them back, as much as everybody loved Henry Cavill as Superman, and as much as Ben Affleck has great fans of him as Batman, I don't think he wants to come back. I think Henry Cavill would love to come back as Superman, but I think Ben Affleck has moved on past that. He's working with Matt Damon all the time again. He's producing. He's got the movie The Rip coming out on Netflix this year, which I'm actually excited to go and see. I think Ben Affleck's talents are otherwise engaged right now, and I don't think that it's ever as good the second time around. But let me know down below, guys. Would you like to see Zack Snyder come back and helm the DC universe again, or would you prefer they go a different direction? Would you like that they keep James Gunn or get rid of James Gunn and bring in somebody else? If you're asking me personally, and perhaps you are because you're watching this video, I don't want to see interconnected universes at all. I would like to see a studio head with the brave face to go out there and say, look, these characters have strong visual there is strong IP here to begin with. Just because not all the universes are connected does not mean that you can't bank on the names of these characters. For instance, you can tell an individual Batman story. You can tell an individual Superman story. You can go this direction and tell an individual Green Lantern story without connecting all of these characters and still get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to notoriety and, and brand recognition from these characters, which of course they own the rights to. I think that is the better direction to go. I don't want to see them connect these universes. I think that it's something that ends up being more often than not the handcuffs that I was talking about earlier, but not in a good way. They handcuff the storytelling. The project becomes too big to really manage, and in a lot of ways it becomes all about homework and continuity and not about fun individual stories. Like I always say, I don't even like serialized television most of the time. I want to see good 42-minute episodes of a show. I don't need everything to connect every episode over 10 seasons, but that's just my take. Let me know down below. Do you want to see more Zack Snyder? Do you want to see more James Gunn? Do you want to see both of them ousted and done with individual stories with perhaps a different head of studio over there at Warner Brothers and DC? Let me know down below, guys. If you don't know what the podcast is, it is Pop Culture Crisis. We are live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. Hope to see you there, guys. Later. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.